Hello everyone, welcome back to Victoria 3. My highest viewed video as of right now is a video where I form Super Germany with Prussia, and there has been a very high demand to see that same video done from the Austrian perspective, so here I am to provide that today. We are going to be playing as Austria and taking over all of the German states. Now, this method is not necessarily going to force you into forming Germany if you don't like the ugly little brown color that they have you do, but it is still an option. First thing you do is you're gonna pick Austria. Our basic plan is going to be to take all of the German states in a unification play as soon as possible. So the first things we're gonna want to do are improve our relations with Russia and France. If we can get these two high enough, they should back us in a leadership play against Prussia, which we will be launching as soon as we can. And to get to a point where we can do that, we need to research nationalism, so we're going to start with that. As for the budget, we're going to come over, we're going to crank taxes up to 5, add a bunch of consumption taxes, grain, services, liquor, and wine. Actually, not wine yet. Let me crank my government wages up to 5, and then we will add wine on there. That gives us a nice solid 132,000 pounds per week. I'm going to increase my construction rate. I'm also going to queue up several construction sectors in Austria specifically. I don't want to build in Bohemia, even though that is where most of my peasants are. The infrastructure here is kind of suck, and we will be fighting over here later, so I don't want to clog up the infrastructure there because we will get a few debuffs from the warfare mechanics of the game. So we're going to build our construction sectors in Austria. I'm going to go ahead and max this out to level 15. I'm also going to come down to Istria, and I'm going to build 5 more naval base buildings. That way we can have a slightly stronger navy because we will be trying to navally invade Prussia later in order to take Berlin easier. I'm also going to start improving my relations with Bavaria because I would like them to join me in the leadership play later and not back Prussia, because that is a relatively wide border that I would like to not have with them. You can also improve your relations with the Ottomans and Great Britain if you would like. I'm gonna go ahead and do this just because I have extra influence lying around, and then we can unpause the game. So for the first little bit until we get nationalism, you are just going to do nothing but micromanagement of the economy. We're going to get the economy going real strong because Austria can snowball really well in this game. We do have a defensive pact proposal from 2 Sicilies. I will take it because the obligation will be nice. 2 Sicilies can sometimes get involved in the leadership play, so keeping them out of it entirely would be beneficial. Our construction sectors are building, so we're going to see how to correct our market as soon as all those are finished. I would imagine that we will be out on a lot of iron and tools, because those are the main ones that we usually run out of. Looks like we're still currently okay. Alright, all the construction sectors are done, and we don't need anything else, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to auto-queue everything to auto-expand. That way I don't have to micromanage everything quite as hard, and it'll take care of all the basic stuff. Now that it is building stuff, we're going to see if we're missing any of the materials, and there we go, we're missing some iron and some tools. So to fix the iron deficit, I'm going to come over to the iron mines and change to atmospheric engine production, and it looks like that's going to cause tools to become scarce on our market. So in Austria, I'm going to build a few tooling workshops, probably queue about 4 of those. Also have the atmospheric engine event. This is a nice little buff to our throughput. We might as well take that. And looks like we still have a pretty solid surplus, so I'm also going to queue as soon as these tooling workshops are done several universities to get our innovation up, because innovation is amazing in this game. Being able to research everything way faster is super nice. But yeah, checking back on the market, we are missing coal and we are missing tools. And we're missing coal because we don't have enough tools, so if we can get the tools back up, we should be able to fix that deficit pretty easily. Alright, so that's 3 tooling workshops done. We're going to see if that fixes the deficit. That has fixed the coal deficit, not entirely the tools deficit yet, but there it goes. All right, and we got a duel. I'd rather them not kill each other, so we're gonna not let them do that. Looks like we still have a pretty big surplus here. Now I'm still not wanting to build in Bohemia. Instead, I'm gonna come to Venetia down here and build more construction sectors. I think I can afford to get another full 15, but I'm only gonna go up to 10 on this one. That might put me at a deficit. I'm not for sure yet. And after all those are finished building, I'm going to start queuing up several universities, because they are indeed quite strong. Pretty much just everywhere but Bohemia. I'm gonna queue up about 15. That should get our innovation up quite high. We'll be able to start researching stuff really quickly, and then we might be able to match the Prussians in military tech, but I don't think so. Alright, looks like we have a little bit of a deficit now. I'm not too worried about this at the moment. We're going to get nationalism soon, and that's going to give us more authority, so if we want to put another consumption tax, we will be able to. Iron is still quite expensive in our market, so we may build a few other iron mines. Innovation is up to 73. This is pretty good. It's not quite where I want it to be yet, but it will work for now. 78, 80. All right, these are much better numbers. 80 I can live with. All right, so there is a pretty high possibility that Russia will offer an alliance with you. If they do this, I suggest you take it because they are a very powerful ally against Prussia, specifically with their border. The only other person you want to really try and get on your side is France. All right, cool. We have nationalism. We got a little bit more authority. So with that authority, I'm going to set the decree of road maintenance in Bohemia just to fix the infrastructure issues that we were having. All right, infrastructure is good. Defensive pact with Bavaria. I'm going to take this as well to get Bavaria on our side. Research-wise, I'm actually going to take central banking for later. Being able to grab obligations from that is quite powerful, though there are a few other things you could go. You could choose to do production, or you could also choose to go down military field works. Is actually pretty good in this situation. I actually may do that instead just for the extra 10% army defense. Actually, yes, I will do that instead. We can take central banking afterwards. We're going to come over to our cultures tab, nation formation, and click on Germany. And we are going to want to launch a leadership play. Bavaria supports us, so that's going to give us a nice border there. If we come over here, Russia will side with us. We just need to get France, really. If we can get France on our side, we will be good. So if we get the opportunity to ask France to join us, we will take it immediately. Alright, France will accept. We want to grab them before the Prussians do. If you get in a situation where you have to choose between Russia and France, I suggest taking France because they are much stronger than the Russians are. In my opinion, because our main objective is going to be to navally invade around Prussia if we actually have to fight this war, I think the French are a stronger ally than the Russians are. Defending against the Russians is actually quite easy, and most of the territory that they occupy is over on this eastern side away from your capital. Looks like I could also get Great Britain on my side for an obligation. Or I could offer humiliation of Prussia. I may do that instead. It looks like I've gotten pretty lucky on this run. I'm going to go ahead and do that and see if I can just get them to straight up back down. Alright, so that's 3 major powers against the 1. They're fearful. I'm hoping I can get them to back down, but if not, we are confident enough to fight this out. Alright, no one backed off. Hopefully they fight this. Never mind, it looks like they are not going to in this case. I was hoping I would be able to take a little bit from them, but not this time. Looks like most of our infamy came off of that play as well. So back over to the cultures tab. We could launch a unification play at this point. It's only going to cost us 30 infamy, which is a little infamous, but it is worth it. The more of these states that you have to fight, the higher this infamy level will be, so keep that in mind. 30 is not actually that high, so we're going to go ahead and launch this one. We will have Russia on our side because we still have an alliance with that. France and Great Britain still like us, so it's likely they'll side with us, and then we could go to war with Denmark, Sweden, and Netherlands. We could end up fighting these two, but I'm not really worried about it because we have Russia on our side. Hanover, I'm not really worried about, so we're going to just go ahead and launch this play. The chances that they back down are pretty significant. Okay, so yeah, Great Britain, they did end up joining with Hanover for some reason, even though that's predicted that they would be joining our side. There's some theme with sympathy in this game. I'm not really a big fan of it, but it is what it is. We're going to need to find a border with them, though. We may naval invade, but that will be difficult with Britain in this conflict. I'm going to go ahead and send troops to the front on Mecklenburg. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these 80 dudes here and put them on the other front. Hopefully we'll be able to push. I don't think Britain will send troops to help them. And even if they do, it probably won't be enough to actually stop them. Alright, looks like I got my other production method for farming. We got fertilizers now. This is always one of the strongest spells you can get early on. That's going to give you a pretty significant GDP jump. Does that give us 100% war goal? Not yet. Where is their state region? Alright, so I need 1 province in this state, and we will be able to take over all of that. All right, was that do it? Okay, yep, we have 100% war score now, so we just need to wait for the war to end, and we will be fine. Looks like they just simply do not have the troops to fight this. Britain is not helping them whatsoever, and we're just going to steamroll them. Goodbye, Hanover. You have been defeated. Alright, simply wait for that to tick down, and we will have the war done, and we now control all of these states. Now, I'm sure you're wondering at this point, hey, you're missing Prussia, like the biggest German state. What do we do about this guy? And there is still some stuff we can do about this guy. You'll notice that Prussia is still split here, which means that these states are actually going to have zero connection to the Prussian market, and they're going to start starving out, which means that Prussia's going to lose a lot of their access, which means Prussia's actually going to lose a significant amount of their GDP. If we watch it, it will start to dip. 21, 20 point, yeah. So their GDP is going to drop because we've basically cut them off from these regions over here. Come down to the political lens, the state actions, incorporate states, we're just going to click all of it. If we go into the negatives, that's fine, we'll just build a few more bureaucratic buildings. We don't actually need the road infrastructure decree anymore on Bohemia because the war actually never fired. We do have much more coal and much more iron now. We do have, looks like we did not gain any universities out of that conquest, which is unfortunate, but change all your production methods over to whatever you would like them to be, specifically whatever's going to be making you the most money. And now we are on to stage 2. Actually, looks like we are still at war with Britain. Can we stop being at war with Britain? Yes, thank you very much. Alright, so now we have pretty big Austria. We want to get even bigger Austria, though. There are two main ways we can actually incorporate Prussia. The first one involves them falling to a major power instead of a great power, which the chances of are actually pretty likely now that we cut them off from their western half. If their prestige falls under the allotted amount, they will become a major power. This doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes the AI is able to save itself, but not always, so the chances of this happening are actually pretty decent. The second way is if we can get our relations with them up high enough, they will support us as a unification candidate, and we can just unify Germany that way, the same process that I did in my Prussia video. But the problem is that they're at negative 100, and it's going to take forever for that to go up. Especially considering we have rivalry, and embargo. So we could stop our own rivalry, but we're only going to go up by 1% per whatever tick or something. I guess it's per day. And this is going to be incredibly slow. So what I find to be more reliable is to simply wait for them to become a major power instead of a great power, and we can punch them in the face later to knock them down a few more pegs if need be. But once they're a major power, we can actually launch a second unification play because it will grab them, it will consider them to be a lesser German state. Alright, so what we do from this point is we simply need to keep an eye on the prestige of Prussia. It looks like their GDP is still falling. It has not yet recovered from the loss of all of those territories over there. It looks like their population is still flatlined, so nothing really changed there. Their literacy rate hasn't really changed. If we wait long enough, the chances that they fall under become much higher, so that is the game plan as of the moment. If this doesn't happen naturally, we can make it happen artificially. Because at this point, your military is probably going to be considered the best in the game. The only thing that would really make it better is just upgrading to the skirmisher infantry, which we do not have currently, or getting any other number of military buffs that are in this game. You can also build more construction sectors at this point, more likely as you start to incorporate more of those North German and Western German states. Now, another thing that you can do while you're waiting for your truce with Prussia to end or waiting for them to become a major power is you can actually enact the Corn Laws. Austria starts the game with a pretty strong landowner class, and if you didn't know, the landowners can be manipulated into supporting laissez-faire and free market through the power of the Corn Laws. The Corn Laws are a little thing added into the journal entry where if we are collecting export prioritized tariffs on grain and we have mercantilism, because you actually can't do it with isolationism, so I don't even know why it's in there, and the landowners are both powerful and in the government, what you can do, come over to your market tab, you're gonna look for your grain, which is right here, and this is where you can set your tariffs. If we set an export priority tariff, we will actually trigger the Corn Laws on the right here. Now, what we get with this is a few little pop-up events that will happen randomly. One that we are looking for, not City of Plenty, that actually doesn't have anything to do with it. I believe it is the event of a modern conservative. Once we get that event, we're going to pause and I'll run you through the two options there. Okay, well, the Corn Law event did not trigger in time, so we have actually ended our truce with Prussia. Because we still have an alliance with Russia, we're going to invade Prussia. Now, the state that I'm going to be trying to take is Brandenburg itself. This is by far the most important province to Prussia, and it will cut off more of their country off from their market. This is almost a guaranteed way of dropping them into major power status, so diplomatic plays, conquer state, I'm gonna go conquer Brandenburg. We've got Russia on our side, it's only 35 infamy, so we're not actually hurting that much on this. Hopefully no one supports them and we can just take this from them immediately. And side note, looks like we have no bread and no freedom. This is one of the Corn Laws events. This is not the one that we were looking for. We can upgrade the minimum wage with it. It doesn't really matter. The other option is to just more radicals. I don't know why you would do that. Minimum wage is fine. We're looking for a different one though. Back to this screen here. Doesn't look like they're actually going to get any extra help here. And I'm not going to add any other war goals because we're probably going to wait and do another war against Prussia later. So we're just going to get to countdown to war. Alright, war it is. Now, we left this dude down in Italy. We're actually going to navally invade Prussia from the north in Pomerania. This is the strategy you will use if you actually have to fight Prussia regularly. So you'll set up your borderlines as you would normally and just set a naval invasion around back. Prussia does not have a very strong navy, so this will be able to go over pretty easily. It looks like I've also got a Wallonian secession going on, so we're going to have to deal with that as well. Apparently the turmoil is a little too high. A grain of power. This is another one of the Corn Laws effects. This is still not the one that I'm looking for, but we will take the bottom one here because I don't want to buff the aristocrats too high. So it looks like we might have to fight a little Wallonian secession movement over here. Doesn't really matter. Alright, the naval invasion's going. This is why we upgraded our navy, so we'd be able to smash through anything, potentially. And we've landed in Pomerania, meaning we get an uncontested waltz through their land. Hopefully we can get into Berlin. Looks like we did. We're in the state of Brandenburg, and it's all over for the Prussians at this point. Brandenburg will belong to Austria. Alright, looks like Prussia's probably gonna die before I can get to Wallonia. Oh well, too bad, so sad. Oh man, that's a lot of extra money. I'm just gonna go down the more production method-based stuff. God damn, I cannot go through all this. It's a little insane. Peace has been achieved. Does that immediately take them to major power? It will. So I'm gonna wait for my truce with Prussia to end, and as soon as they become a major power, I will be able to launch unification play as long as my truce is not engaged. I'm also going to incorporate Brandenburg in the meantime because this is actually a very nice state to have. Alright, and we finally have the Modern Conservative. This is the event that you want to get from the Corn Laws. What this will allow you to do is get a new leader for the landowners. You're going to get a few more radicals. This is fine. The thing that is nice about the landowner change is he is now a market liberal. Market liberals support laissez-faire, child labor, and free trade. 2 out of the 3 of those things are actually pretty good. I'll let you decide which one is which. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to laws, economic system, and we're going to institute laissez-faire because it's just better than interventionism. We get so much more investment pool, you would not believe how much it is. It's going to make our economy so much stronger. It's already super, super strong, probably the strongest in the game. Second to Qing, but Qing doesn't really count because of how backwards they are technologically speaking. Prussia is still considered a great power even though they are down to 159. Their GDP is just falling off a cliff. They're going to fall to a major power shortly. Alright, and we got laissez-faire, and you can see that our investment pool has just immediately spiked. Also, as soon as you get the Modern Conservative, you can actually get rid of the Corn Laws and gain way more loyalists. I can show you that real quick. We're going to change our tariffs back to normal, and the Corn Laws are now gone. End of the Corn Laws. We get 10% more laborers and peasants in Austria become loyalists, and that immediately shoots us up by 2 million. Now, our economy is just through the roof right now. I'm going to build even more construction sectors. We're just going to keep going and going and going. I'm going to build 20 more right now. I'm going to have to build more railways as well. Oh, okay. This is interesting. I was actually incorrect. the truce with Prussia actually does not matter. So we're just going to go ahead and launch this play. We are going to get quite a bit of infamy here, but I'm not too worried about it. I'll reduce the infamy a little bit more. I don't want to go into pariah just to take Prussia. You know, just annex a former great power. I don't want people to, like, get mad at me for that, you know? I'm gonna go ahead and launch the unification play against Prussia. Russia will not be able to join their side. I will use Russia if another major power gets involved. And let's see, where's Prussia's capital, actually? Alright, so it's over here, I think. Up, and they back down. Alright, cool. So, with that, we actually have these super Germany borders, but we actually aren't even Germany. We're just Austria, which I think is actually, like, way cooler, in all honesty, because I don't really like the Germany color that you get from hitting Form Germany. But you do get a cool little flag, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys, just so you can see what it looks like. Here's our Austria borders. Form Germany. Here is our Germany borders. I think the shade of brown might be just a little bit different, but you do get this cool little German flag with the little logo at the top left. I think that's kind of cool. And then you can just incorporate all of the other states, like all of these up here, but at this point you've already incorporated all of the main ones that are actually worth something. And yeah, your economy is going to be absolutely busted at this point. Your population is also going to be quite high, third in the world, second to India and Qing. But at this point, you can absolutely just bully everyone else if you want to. Alright, that is going to do it for the Austria into Germany video. I know a lot of you were requesting that one, so hopefully this is satisfactory. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithm quite a lot. If you want to see more Victoria 3 content, be sure to subscribe. And as a further note, I have been adding a bunch of polls out on my community tab recently, asking you guys which of the countries you think is stronger out of a given pool. And the results of that will determine how I rank a future video where I plan to rank the top 20 nations in Victoria 3, so keep an eye out for that video. If you want to make sure you're notified when that comes out, be sure to hit the bell notification as well. That way you don't miss that video. I'm sure that video is going to get a ton of backlash because no matter how I rank these, someone's going to disagree with me, so be sure to see that mess when that comes out. But yeah, that's going to do it for today. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.